Good day. Our group will be presenting on the topic wearable biosensor. First of all, what is meant by wearable biosensor? From the terms, we know that wearable are objects that can be worn on the body, while biosensor is biological sensor in short, which means it is a device made up of transducer, biosensor reader device, and the biological element. In short, wearable biosensor is digital device that can be worn on the body in the form of wearable systems or devices such as smart shirts, smart watches, thin bandages, or etc. Rapid growth of these devices are on the way, which will help to provide advantages like easy to use, low cost, and providing real-time information. The use of wearable monitoring devices that allow constant monitoring of physiological signals is essential for the advancement of both the diagnosis and treatment of diseases. Wearable biosensors also allow physicians to overcome the limitations of technology and provide a response to the need for monitoring individuals over weeks or months.
Now, I will explain the advantages and disadvantages of using the wearable biosensors. There are some advantages of using wearable biosensors. Firstly, wearable biosensors are easy to use. The confirmed and better use can provide a new level of exposure into a patient's real-time health status. This real-time data availability will allow the better clinical decisions and will result in better health results and more efficient use of health system. Secondly, using wearable biosensors can help in avoidance of hospitalizations. For the human society, it may help in early detections of health events and avoid the patients from admissions to hospital for treatments. This is because a doctor can track a patient's data from day to day, and a patient too would benefit from quantify the health to improve the diagnosis and treatment. So, this can also reduce the hospitalization fee. Thirdly, wearable biosensor can minimize the risk of harm or infections and are generally more user-friendly. Wearable biosensors can obviate the painful and risky blood sampling procedures. The method of using wearable biosensors is a non-invasive sensing method for chemical analysis of biofluids such as sweat, tears, saliva, or interstitial fluids. These biofluids have been targeted as they can be sampled in a non-invasive manner, meaning that they can readily access without disrupting the outermost protecting layers of the body skin and without contacting the blood. Besides, wearable biosensors enable the rapid continuous control and real-time monitoring of biomarkers that can be related to a wearer's health and performance. The use of wearable biosensors that allow the constant and continuously monitoring of the physiological signals, such as the blood glucose level, blood pressures, heart beat rates, and other biometric data, which is essential for diagnosis and treatment of diseases. The use of wearable biosensor can provide the information on wellness and health, enhance the management of chronic diseases, and allow the user or medical professionals to normal situations. Last but not least, through the recent development in wearable biosensor, we can clearly enhance the quality of life and minimize the medical errors. Wearable biosensors are used to monitor, record the transmit physiological signals in order to offer a better healthcare experience to the global populations. Wearable biosensors can help the patient to have a continuous monitoring of their health statistics. On the other hand, there are also some disadvantages of using the wearable biosensors. Firstly, the initial cost of the wearable biosensor is high. The components of making the wearable biosensors are expensive. Secondly, the battery life of wearable biosensors are less. These tend to have a very short battery life. Thirdly, the unintended security weaknesses of wearable biosensors is also one of the advantages of wearable biosensors. The wearable biosensors are prone to the accidental or deliberate exposure of patient information and the patient privacy. This is because data on an individual is easy to get by someone because the wearable biosensor is stolen or lost. Then, the repairing and the maintenance process of the wearable biosensors is quite complicated and tedious. Besides, there are only a limited number of physiological parameters can be monitored by wearable biosensors. Lastly, the membrane of the wearable biosensors may be fouled by the deposits. As a result, the gradual surface biofouling at the body sensor interface can cause the inefficient transport of the sample over the wearable biosensors. And this can cause the wearable biosensors cannot monitor and collect the data required. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Now I'm going to talk about the mechanism of epidermal wearable biosensor. Epidermal wearable biosensor can detect a biofluid such as sweats, which contain the metabolites such as glucose, and also electrolytes such as sodium. Sweats provide diagnostic information in detecting the genetic disorder such as cystic fibrosis and also used in monitoring for diabetes. The desired analyte interact with the bioreceptor which contain the enzyme, nucleic acid, and also antibody. This bioreceptor induce a change on these particles and the information will send to a transducer. The transducer will convert and amplify the information and then the information will send to a computer or a smart device by using wireless transmission through the Bluetooth. Next, I'm going to talk about the mechanism of tattoo-based non-invasive biosensor. This biosensor is used in glucose monitoring. It coupling with an amperometric biosensor with a reverse iontophoresis operation. Reverse iontophoresis is a technique by which the molecules are removed from within a body by using a voltage gradient on the skin. This biosensor uses a lower current density to extract the interstitial fluid glucose to the surface of the skin. It consists of an anodic and cathodic contingent which consists of Ag and AgCl and act as a reference electrode. This electrode, together with an agarose hydrogel coating, helps in efficiently delivery of the interstitial fluid close to the working electrode, which is the transducer. The transducer used is the glucose oxidase modified Prussian blue transducer, which has a high selectivity towards hydrogen peroxide. And here, a redox reaction occurs. Glucose is converted to gluconic acid by glucose oxidase, and then the byproduct, which is the hydrogen peroxide, is detected by the transducer. The data is then sent to the computer or a smart device for real-time data analysis.
The first part study is wearable biosensors technology. The study reviewed the various biosensor technologies, which are accelerometers and motion sensors, biochemical sensors, and photoplethysmography (PPG) sensors. Accelerometer is an electromechanical device used to measure acceleration forces. It can be developed to simultaneously monitor heart rate and body accelerations. Biochemical sensor is a device capable of converting a chemical or biological quantity into an electrical signal. One of the examples is the epidermal temporary transfer tattoo-based potentiometric sensor coupled with a miniaturized wearable wireless transceiver for non-invasive sweat monitoring to monitor sodium in human sweat. Other examples are flexible screen printed electrodes (SPE) and textile-based patch biosensor with integrated optical detection system. PPG is a device used to detect blood volume changes in the microvascular bed of tissue. Magnetic earring sensor and wireless earpiece are used as earlobe has a rich arterial supply and is less affected by motion. The second study is a driver's physiological monitoring system based on wearable PPG sensor and a smartphone. In the course of driving, sudden disease outbreaks often cause traffic accidents. In this past study, ECG, EMG, and respiratory signals are measured. For conventional method, different systems were invented. However, almost all of them are not wearable and will ignore the driver's driving behavior. For recent method, wearable PPG sensor was designed to transmit signal to a smartphone by Bluetooth and are used to measure in the earlobe. The smartphone will generate feedback to alert users when abnormal physiological signals are detected. The third study is the role of wearable devices in multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosis is the most common neurological disorder in young adults. This review analyzes different motion sensors embedded in smartphones and motion wearable devices (MWD) to measure physical activity of people with multiple sclerosis (PWMS). By using MWD, it will evaluate several parameters which are range of movement, meters or number of steps in a day, walking speed, burned calories, heart rate, and sleeping hours. Smartphone and MWD automatically record user interactions and collect continuously high-density data. There are also some limitations for MWD, including quality of data, variable accuracy depending on the type of sensors, location on the surface, abnormal movements during ambulation for disability, user adherence, power consumption and recharging, and the last one is the data management.